All right. Speaking of degeneracy and also speaking of investment in our favorite companies, we had a little bit of a question here. It popped up on the old Kurosanji subreddit. Oh, Kurosanji. So apparently, BlackRock is now a part owner of Hololive. They bought in with a 0.56 share. Good old BlackRock getting the Hololive here. And a lot of people were very concerned about this. And I want to say, and shout out to my good friend Permaband, I'm going to read one of his tweets later. There is some cause for concern, but there are also real legal and regulatory limitations to them doing the shit they do in the United States. So I'm going to explain both, right? So if someone says, who is BlackRock? What is BlackRock? Well, BlackRock is a company that, let's say, invested in a lot of American companies and foisted upon them the parameters of ESG, environmental social governance, and DEI, something you've heard about, that's been very controversial, and even within the United States, is now being rolled back in many corporations, or they're realizing, okay, this is something we're just putting lip service into, but we're not actually going to do anything about it. There is pushback against it. It is winning. Now, the bite's not over. You can talk to good old Kirsha about Bridge. She'll tell you that there's a lot of stuff within America that they're trying to push. But the bigger concern is this stuff coming into Japan. Because if you look over here, you can see there is a concerted interest in investing in Japan. A lot of people want to get into Japan. Why? Because anime is selling and Disney sucks. Anybody who knows me knows I cover Disney a lot. Now, one of the reasons why that's failing is because they have such a strong commitment to DEI. In fact, I looked at one of the indexes on one of the corporate watchdogs. I think it's As You Sow. And they had an index asyousow.org had an index for like corporate responsibility and all this shit. Let's see if I can find it real quick. See if I can find it. I think it's a work. Here it is. Okay. So this is a typical corporate watchdog. Now in the West, right? In the West. Okay. What has it got here? It's got a racial justice scorecard, a workplace equity scorecard, a plastic promises scorecard, a impact of the energy sector fund report, paying for climate performance, proxy voting guidelines, like all this other stuff in here, right? Most overpaid CEOs, right? So if you go into workplace equity, let's go into that real quick. It's going to be fun, right? It gives you rankings. Who is up here in the top 10 of all American companies? Who is in the top 10? Good old Disney. Also got PayPal, Union Pacific, Amalgamated Bank, Webtech, Eversource, Sempra Energy, Philip Morris, Real Diverse, Albertsons, American Electric Power. Who are the ones who suck? ZipRecruiter is at 0. Oh my God. Oh, Vishay, Topgolf, bro. Topgolf is horribly based. Brinks, Kindle, Lumen, Southern Copper Corporation, Flowserve, First Citizens, and fucking Texas Roadhouse, baby. Texas Roadhouse, guys. Make sure you go out there and give some love to Texas Roadhouse with a 0% at the bottom of the barrel here. We're giving some love to Texas Roadhouse. So obviously, They're on that. Actually, let's go back here because I believe also if you go to the racial justice scorecard, let's go to that one too. Yes, Disney is at the top of that too. They're number 3, the racial justice. Also, mind you, in this one, racial justice, Visa and Microsoft, right? Visa and Microsoft. If you ever wonder why all the payment process, and look at this PayPal too. So you wonder why the payment processors are here. You wonder why all the naughty based boys get banned and get debanked. It's because all these two are here. Visa, MasterCard's not far below, by the way. But who's at the bottom? Orion, Suncoast, Clean Harbor, Olin, Huntsman, Westlake, Berkshire Hathaway, Amplify, Suncoast. These guys have a freaking negative racial score. Negative racial score. So anyways, that's the sort of thing BlackRock made this happen. BlackRock made this stuff happen. Right? So just understand that's BlackRock. BlackRock. And they're interested in Japan. Once again, here, this is from the BlackRock site. You can see right here, BlackRock. BlackRock Insights. Unlocking the power in Japan. Japan has been undergoing a profound transformation with inflation and corporate reforms turning it in what do we believe is an attractive investment opportunity. Against this backdrop, it's time to rethink portfolio allocations to Japan. We believe Japan exposures can help build portfolio resilience. So they're pushing investment in Japan. So in accordance with that, they did what they do. They're an investing company. They invested in Japan. And there would be nothing wrong with that if they wouldn't try to do these things in other companies. And what was brought up here by Permaband, over here, give me the band hammer, over here on Twitter, shout out, says, a general reminder, those who downplay BlackRock crawling into Cover Corp and Hololive, here is Anycolor and Nijisanji share ownership for comparison. Remember, Anycolor makes ESG reports and ESG pandering, and we can all see what's happening with Nijisanji, I'm sure. So here is the foreign shares, or rather, it's a percentage of shares. You've got Vanguard with 1.73% and BlackRock with 0.42%. So these activist investors own about 2.1, 2.2 percent. So a very small percent. But certainly it's no mistake that Nijisanji is doing ESG reports and ESG pandering, even when only 2% is there. Why is that? Why is that? It's not because they're forced to, because they don't have majority ownership. And this is a very important point. So unlike in America, you can't just willy-nilly go in and invest in stuff. There are limitations. And of course, there's limitations in the US. But one of the big limits, you cannot, in Japan, a Japanese company, I believe, either cannot be or there's severe restrictions on owning over 20% of the company. So foreign ownership should be 20%. So it's not possible for them to be the single brick owner that kind of owns everything that comes in and buys out. However, here is where they convince foreign companies. Because in America, you can use arguments for DEI and other things like that by saying, well, this is something that we should do. This is something the people of America want. And therefore, you, American company, need to do it. And also you can say, we're requiring you to do that, or we're not going to invest in your company. Or in America, they can just buy 51% of the shares or controlling stakes and say, we're going to force you to do this, whether you like it or not. We own 70% of your company, 60% of your company. We will force you to do this. I'm sorry. We're just forcing you to do it. They can do that in America. They can't do that over there. Here's what they will do, though. They'll say, you want foreign investment. Well, foreign investors, they want ESG. They want DEI. And that was a very persuasive argument. And I think a lot of companies, particularly the Sonys of the world, they bought these arguments. And Nijisanji, I can think to a certain extent, buys this argument, says, oh, the West wants this. So we want Western money And therefore, we need to do this to get Western money. So we're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. But now that it's been a while, people are seeing this. And how do I know this? Well, I was just in Japan. And I was having a very nice conversation at a very nice bar with somebody who works for a very large Japanese automotive agency. It was very enlightening for me. He spoke very good English, which was surprising because most people in Japan don't speak good English. But when I asked him, I casually asked him, I'm like, so hey, like, have you guys heard about DEI? And he just laughed. And he was like, yeah, but we've learned not to take that seriously anymore. And I'm like, like quietly as I go back to drinking, like, I'm just like, okay, cool. I'm not gonna say which company. It's in the general area of Nagoya, the general region. Leave you guys to figure that one out. Right? I was like, very based. But they learned to realize it's ridiculous. They learned to realize, hey, this is something that, like, Asia is catching on. See, when it's a new fad, they're like, oh, we want to make sure we catch the new fad. We want to make sure to catch the new thing. But it's not new anymore. It's now old. It's now the dead horse. And they're actually seeing that a lot of this is deranged and crazy. And they're saying, well, this is not working. The Japanese game developers, some of them that have gone and adopted the ESG guidelines and the design guidelines, for example, that say you need to design characters that are size inclusive or whatever else, or type A and type B or whatever else instead of anything else. You need to go do this, right? They're looking at Korean developers, Chinese developers that don't do that and are making bank, and they're going, wait a second. Well, why didn't we just do that? They're making money. And ultimately, particularly in Asia, money talks. There's one thing that talks over here. It's money.